Back on video 1, or blog 1 of the series about my life, I mentioned about wanting to help people, and so I chose the route of going into counselling. Now, my experience in counselling, or training to be a counsellor, nearly threw me out of it totally. I'm going to explain why. I'm not saying that all counsellors are going to be the same as this particular person, because I know damn well they're not. However, the mindset is still quite common with some counsellors and psychotherapists. It isn't an accusation, it's a fact of life. My mindset and the way I deal with problems is very, very different to the standardised way of thinking about therapy in counselling or psychotherapy, or even hypnotherapy for the vast majority of people. I joined a counselling school back in 1980. It's no longer in existence now, unfortunately. And as part of that process, I had to do, I think it was either 20, 25, 30 hours of therapy, whatever it was. And I know it seems like I've got a bad memory, but when I think that something is of little or no value to me, and as you'll find out this wasn't, I don't bother retaining it. It's of no value to me, so just let go. Anyway, I had to go and visit this lady named Phyllis. Now, instantly, Phyllis somehow just irked me. Her whole attitude and everything was that I had serious problems in my life already, and that I needed lots of therapy to sort them out, and she couldn't accept that I'd actually let go of these things. Now, I think she must have met Freud in person. She was very, very old. I mean, she had to be into her 70s or 80s. Whether she should still have been doing what she was doing, I don't know. It's not right for me to say, but even then, what she was saying just felt so wrong, so old-fashioned. Especially as counsellors are technically not supposed to diagnose or tell you what to do. So anyway, we're in this first meeting. Now, all I can say is that I soon started to call her Philistine, because she was trying to trash everything I said. She just didn't believe me. But I also nicknamed her Gorgon, because her hair, which was quite wild, shall we say, you could see it moving. There were so many knits on her hair. I'm sure they were learning to do trapeze acts and things. It was absolutely fascinating to watch. So she wanted my life story. And so I started to tell her. I told her about my sister that suffered from Phylliss syndrome. And a lot of the time she was in a wheelchair. She could stand up and walk. She found it difficult. And when I was about 6 or 7, she'd be 16, 17, and she was only just a few inches taller than me. She never grew much taller than a 7-year-old would. Now, my mum needed to spend a lot of time looking after her, and my dad did. Now, I never felt unloved. I never felt deprived or anything. My mum spent plenty of quality time with me. We had lots of fun, we did lots of things. However, Phyllis decided that my childhood was full of privation. I was deprived of many things. And this would lead to me having a poor relationship with my mother, probably hating or even resenting my sister for taking up so much time. Don't know where that came from. I had a nice childhood. I had a happy time. Plenty of time for playing. I played with my sister. Didn't hate her or resent her. She was great fun to be around. All her problems, I mean, most people with Phylliss syndrome or even Phyllis syndrome, they die quite young. She made it, whoa, well into her 50s, which is some pretty good going. So I didn't at all. And then I told her about my dad. As I mentioned earlier, my dad had a wooden leg. Now, or pot leg or peg leg, he liked to call it his pot leg because it was made of it was like pot shaped and asbestos. But it was painful for him to wear, so he didn't wear it all the time. But he was in a lot of pain with it, and I know that he used to get that phantom limb pain and phantom limb tickling or itching. Stopped my dad doing lots of things. As I've mentioned earlier, he's a superb diver and gymnast. He just turned it round and became very good in other things. Fishing, angling, rod making. In actual fact, mending cars and other things. Now she said, because my dad didn't do boy things with me, football, cricket, those sorts of things, that again I was deprived, and that it was obvious I had anger issues with my father for losing his leg, and I felt all sorts of horrible resentments and things towards my father. No, never. Didn't understand that. And she said, yes, you're hiding your depression well, Richard. You must have got quite depressed as a child. You must have really withdrawn into yourself. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, where's this coming from? What? Well, I'll use it. What crap is she telling me? I just, none of this exists as far as I was concerned. And I then told her about getting run over and shot in my left eye with the arrow. And her response was, all that trauma. How are you able to live with that? Very easily. She said, you must have a lot of suppressed or repressed things. We need to deal with that. We need to get that out into the open. We need to go back and bring those feelings out. What feelings? I've let go of it. And I must say I was probably starting to sound a little bit angry or tetchy with her at this point, because she was just sort of like, everything I said, she was telling me I was wrong. Well, I know how I felt. She didn't know how I felt. And then she started talking about, I've got all this hidden resentment against women. Hidden anger, suppressed anger, with aggressive tendencies. And then when I started talking about all the other bullying things, apparently I had even more suppressed anger and aggressive tendencies. Especially because I pushed Charles' hand away and, just, what? No, it's my go. Oh, well, yeah. And then, when I told her about the knee-jerk reaction of smashing the army rifle, the Enfield 303 against Sergeant D's leg, she almost recoiled in horror, and she was saying, I knew it. You're an aggressive and violent person. I'm not sure that you're suitable to be a counsellor. I think we might need to refer you for some very special treatment. It could probably take you 2 or 3 years to get all this sorted. We might have to put your counselling course on hold. Pardon? I'm fine. I've not got any of this. Yeah. All of a sudden now, I'm in massive denial of all my problems. Massive denial. I don't think I was. Anyway, the next session, she started to try and analyse all this stuff, and going back and getting me to talk more and more about it and using some weird techniques or whatever. And I just told her again, I said, look, I'm sorry, but you're trying to find things that aren't hidden. There aren't these problems, they are not there. I have let go, I have learned to let go of these things. I don't need to hold on to them. I can remember the incidents, I can remember the pain. I won't let them happen again. I've learned from them and moved on. So all of a sudden I found myself with the next problem. Passive aggressive, because I just shut up and refused to talk to her. I must say, After the end of that first session, and certainly after the end of the second session, if the number 89 bus was driving past, I'd have probably thrown myself under it. No, I wouldn't have. But that's what she was thinking I should feel like. You see, I've got this belief, Mother Nature has given us an incredibly powerful tool. It's called amnesia. It's called forgetting. It's called letting go. Think of all the thousands, millions, billions of people that's been alive before we had counselling and psychotherapy. Yet they might have visited the local witch doctor or a priest for a problem. But they didn't have all this counselling. Life was life. Crap happened. Trauma happened. You got over it. You moved on. Think about all the people that came back from wars, the First World War, the Second World War. There were many people with shell shock. I quite agree. Battle fatigue, it's real. I don't disagree. But there were countless millions of people who came back, saw all those horrors, lived those horrors, and just said, I don't want to talk about it, leave me alone, I'm not telling you, I'm going to forget it. And those men and women went on and led happy, fulfilling lives. They remembered what they needed to remember and they forgot what they forgot. And they were right to say, don't talk to me about it, I don't want to remember it, I don't want to go digging back into all that painful past, leave me alone, thank you, it's dead, it's buried, it's gone, I'm fine now, I've got over it. Well, I've done that with everything that's happened to me, I've got over it, I've moved on. I didn't need counselling, I didn't need psychotherapy, well I did it myself. I'm not saying those things are wrong, I am not saying those things aren't valid for millions of people. They have helped millions of people. But it doesn't take weeks, it doesn't take months, it doesn't take years of therapy to move somebody from A to Z. It can be just a matter of 2 or 3 hours to shift serious trauma, to shift serious phobias, serious anxieties, addictions. It doesn't take weeks. And I'll tell you another one of my pet hates is someone who says to me, I'm a recovering alcoholic. And I'll say, what do you mean? Oh, well, I've not had a drink for 10 years. You're not recovering then, pal? You recovered? Sorry, you are. But it's this old-fashioned mindset. It takes years, months, weeks, whatever, to sort a problem out. It doesn't. And once you're there, and you don't want to smoke, you don't want weed, you don't want to gamble, you don't want to drink alcohol, and time passes and you don't start again, you are, for the want of a better word, cured. You are not recovering. But people who keep being told they're just recovering will stay in that frame of mind that they're not cured. And I don't understand why there are professionals out there who will say these things to people and keep them in that mindset that they are not fixed. Because if someone genuinely hasn't drunk for 10 years and don't fancy a drink, doesn't want one, or doesn't want a cigarette, they are cured. And in later videos I'll be talking about how I stopped smoking, and there's something that the vast majority of people don't know, although it is out on another video. At one point in my life I also had an alcohol problem, and it was dealt with using very rapid techniques which I now use and teach other people to use. They'll be on another video, not this one. Now, back to Phyllis and her type. She didn't put me off because I was handed over to a guy named Phil, I think it was, as opposed to Phyllis, it was a Philip. He sat with me and after 40 minutes or so, he said, you really are over all those problems, aren't you? I said, yeah. And then he said to me, but we've still got about another 22, I think, hours of therapy. What are we going to do? And I turned around and I said to him, well, we've got two choices. We can sit here and meet and play cards, Or you can tick the boxes that I've been, you can see somebody else and get paid twice, and I'll happily continue with my course. I won't tell you which one of the two we chose, but I had a lot of free time.